Hi, in this short follow-up video, we're gonna showcase how to stop the camera motion for a short time on the path that we have attached it to. So the question came from one of you asking, how do I slow down or how do I stop the camera at some point in the motion path? So we've already attached the camera to the motion path as per the video that you saw earlier. And now we're going to go ahead and if I move this down the timeline, if I'm scrubbing through the timeline, you see that the camera is following up that motion path to which it has been attached. Now, how do I stop that? One thing to understand is that when you add a camera to a motion path, it automatically creates keyframes for that camera so that the camera can move through time. That's basically what is happening. It's changing right now rotation and position values for that camera. To see where you can get access to that information, you need to go into the Windows dropdown at the top. Then you need to go into your animation editors. In there, you're going to find topmost is the graphing editor. Now, the graphing editor, having that camera selected, as you can see, it is green. If I go to the graphing editor, it's going to open up this window, which will graphically showcase what is happening to the motion of the camera. So as you can see, the camera starts moving and then it stops at some point. That graph represents the motion of that camera on the path. And as I move my time marker on my timeline, you'll notice that the time marker in the graph matches that position as well. So basically I have control of what I'm looking at on my screen from this graphing editor window as well. So the trick now is to understand what's happening here. You'll notice that the motion sort of starts a little bit flat and then it starts getting steep and then it goes to back almost to flat again. That means you have what's called EC out from this keyframe and you have EC in from this frame right here, meaning you're going to slowly start picking up speed, then you're going to go at a constant speed at some point and then you're going to start slowing down as you get towards the next keyframe. The trick is to change those values or to add values to what we want. So suppose, for example, we want the camera to stop somewhere around here, halfway through the path. So if I move my time marker here to about halfway through the path, you'll notice that the camera is rotating along the path to which it is attached, and I can get to the point where I want it to stop. So say, for example, I want it to stop here. In order to stop the camera at that point for, let's say, from 58 frames to 70 frames. What I want to do is I want to place my time marker where I need it. Then I'm going to go to the actual path itself, select it, and then I'm going to right click on my mouse, and then I'm going to go from the flyout menu, I am going to click insert key. Now that created a keyframe with the value of the position and rotation of the camera at that point. That's what I want. I want to capture that value. Then let's say I move my time marker to the 70 point mark. Now with that time marker there, 72 in this case, I'm going to go back and select that keyframe and I'm going to go to edit, copy. Then I'm going to, with my time marker where I want the copy of that frame to be pasted, I'm going to select edit again and I'm going to go paste. Now you'll notice that basically what happened is I made a copy of this frame and I placed it here. Understanding that the curve indicates there's a tangent, meaning you have EC out, you'll notice that there's a small sine wave over here, a little curve. And that indicates that there's some kind of easing as well. What that will do to your camera is basically going to make it move around between those two keyframes, as you can see. And that's not what you want. You want the camera to stop. So if you want the camera to stop completely, what you want to do at that point is with that second frame selected still, you want to change the interpolation value of it, meaning you want to change the way the tangent is moving from this point to this point. You want to make it what we call linear. And linear means you're going to create a flat tangent, meaning it's going to be a constant rate of speed for the change between the two keyframes. So with that said, let me click on this flat tangent option and you'll notice that my keyframe gets flat. Now if I select this one and I click on it, it will also go flat, as you can see, adding EC out to this point, and I still haven't lost my tangents. I still have my Bezier handles on either side, so I can go back and change them if I need to, if I want to. But in this case, I really just want to maintain a constant speed between those two keyframes. So if I do that, you'll notice that the camera is not moving at all. It stops for that amount of time. It stops when it gets here, it doesn't move between those two frames, and then it starts moving again. So that creates that flat time, or that flat change rate of change, meaning that you don't have anything changing between those two keyframes. Basically, you have the exact same values. And since your tangent is flat, there is no motion on the camera on anything happening at that period of time. Now, with those two keyframes, what you can do is you can now go ahead and move them around and place them whatever you want in your time if you want to. Or, a best workflow is to actually check where you want to start that change, where you want to hold the camera, and place your time marker to start there, and then make the copy and paste it downstream. Another option is to use what we call this option right here, step tangent, which will basically stop the value of the frame, depending on what you select, behind that frame. So say for example, I wanted to keep the speed constant between my first frame and this frame. If I select my second frame and I go to step, you'll notice that this gets flat. If I go ahead and remove this one, let's say, and I go ahead and, sorry, I have that set up differently. Hold on. If I go ahead and change it to that, you'll notice that basically all my speeds get flattened. And that means there's no rate of change between this and this one. The camera will just hold where it's at. And then it will jump to the middle point when we get to this frame down here, when we get to this specific frame. Watch. Boom. So if you want to have stepping motion, meaning everything is held, and that's basically called hold interpolation. Let me undo that. As opposed to the sine wave, which gives you that easy in, easy out. That's also another way of controlling. So all of these options up here allow you to change the way your keyframes talk to one another through interpolation. I hope this answers the question.